you guys doing today? I am absolutely disappointed that we lost to Wake Forest, and again, Wake Forest is a good team. I take nothing away from them, but Florida State losing to Wake Forest, really, at this point, it begs to differ of what is the standard. Wake Forest has a lot of seniors, a lot of fourth-year guys, a lot of red-shirted guys. They have some six-year guys. They have a good coach. I really like their coach, and I want to say this so you understand. I'm not advocating for this guy ever to even be an assistant in Tallahassee because he's not what we need. But he is a good coach. They do far more with far less. I will never forget he done an interview. I may have been 2014 or 2015, and you know, after the media days, all the coaches, all the conferences go to ESPN. They talk to all of them, and so they talk to Jimbo and they talk to Dabo. So they talk to the coach, and the guy flat out asked him, "How do you compete with Florida State and Clemson when these schools have massive stadiums? They have budget, revenue, they have the resources and everything." He said, "We're not going to concede to them, but we're going to operate how we can operate, and we're going to do the best we can do." And the one thing I like about this coach is his staff and him as a person can identify players that they can develop and fit what they want to do. That to me shows the sign. Again, I like him. I know Sanford is struggling, but I really like David Shaw. I think David Shaw, if he was at USC, Alabama, Florida State, somewhere like that where he had a bigger budget and he really could truly do things he wanted to do, I think he really would excel. And this is one of those coaches. And so I pay attention to the things. Wake Forest doubled their budget for football. Now, obviously, their program, their school, I use the word like football because the fans hardly ever show up any game. This is a team, and this is consistent. This is over the course of years. Wake Forest people, little people come. There's hardly ever a sellout. Student section not really full. They don't really have a following or a crowd. They do have support. They do have fans. They recently, I think early this year, last year, got a $20 million donation. So they do have some people. But as far as compared to other schools, other elite programs, not just in their conference, but elite programs, Wake Forest is at the bottom. But they doubled their budget, and they operate in a fashion. Now, when you talk about a place like Florida State that loves football and passionate, and they're all in, you can't count the pandemic year. And I'm trying to say this right because all the numbers are not. I think financially, most schools they did the best they can do during the pandemic year because you didn't have a lot of parking. You didn't have a lot of I think the Pac-12 didn't have any fans in the stands. Florida State had very little fans. Alabama very little. So most of the time they cut the stadium in half. So let's say 20 to 30,000 fans at an 80,000 seat stadium, maybe 30, 40,000 at a 100,000 seat stadium. So the numbers are askew. Going off the general numbers from 2019 on up, even knowing that 2021 numbers are not finalized and turned in, Florida State ranks probably in the top 7, if not the top school in the ACC. Florida State spends around $60 to $70 million a year on football alone. That's operating cost. Obviously, people got to understand between Division II, 1AA, and Division I is revenue generated. Division I is revenue generated. So we spend a lot of money. And this is not the school opening up their pocket. This is money from boosters, donors, merchandise. This is money from marketing, TV revenue, contract, conference deals, all this stuff. But Florida State operates at probably 60 or 70 million dollars a year just in football alone. We have a top 5 recruiting budget. I think the last year I have on record show Florida State just in football spent $1,000,006, $1,000,007 just in recruiting alone. Obviously, some schools probably spend 100, 200,000. People want to know it's not just a HBCU problem, but in Division One, AA, recruiting budgets, you probably got cars cost more than recruiting budgets. Jackson State's budget is $15,000 to $20,000, so you can see the difference. But Wake Forest is a good quality team. They're going to be disciplined. They have to. Wake Forest doesn't have elite athletes all over the field. They don't recruit 4 and 5 stars. They normally don't get the guys that are game changers or difference makers. But they coach and they develop guys that can become quality NFL players. They develop guys that can go to the CFL because they figure that out. So the way they play is they try to play mistake-free ball, eliminate turnovers and penalties, and make you beat yourself. That's just how they operate. And this was a prime opportunity for us to really take the next step. Like I say, I'm not sold on Mike Norvell. Right now I'm at 75%. I do think he is a good coach. I'm pumping the brakes on calling him a great coach. But at Florida State, the expectation is championships. Not only do we have 3 national championships, we made the college football playoff. We made the first BCS national championship game. If it was not for 2 wide rights, losing to Florida in the Sugar Bowl, losing to Florida in the Swamp. You talk about some of the early teams in the late 80s, mid and late 80s. If they had a BCS, if they had a college football playoff, we would have been competing for a national championship. So we are an elite level program, and the expectations is ACC championship and national championship. So until you do those things, then you're just a good coach because you're at a place where it's there. I don't know what Jimbo Fisher said or had done. Not really concerned with Willie, but right now at this moment, Mike Norvell operates with a great recruiting budget. He operates with a school that spends money on the expenses that are needed to compete at a high level. The one thing is now the team is playing better. So guess what? People that don't live around Tallahassee are coming to games now. Because it's difficult when you live, I live 5 hours away. A lot of people live in Texas, people live all over. The farthest game I've been to was Notre Dame. I flew. I normally drive, but I flew to Notre Dame. I flew first class when they played Notre Dame in 2018. First time ever going. Anytime they go on the road and they play a huge game at a big stadium, I'm going. I don't like small stadiums. I want to go to at least 75 to 100,000. I like to go to big ball games that are sold out and going to that Notre Dame game. Being able to watch that game as a kid, look at that stadium, and then go there and see them play was tremendous. But when the product on the field get better, fans will come. I know administration is tired of me. I know the booster organization is glad I stopped calling because I didn't want them to destroy Doak. I've always said they should close the north end zone, close the bowl, complete the stadium, and at least go to 90,000 and start giving us better non-conference opponents. Obviously, we're in the ACC. People don't care about Duke. People don't care about Wake. I can name so many other teams. We've been cheated for so many years with relying on Florida and Miami, and now Clemson's gotten to a point where that game really has gotten, well, we're not beating them, but it's a good game. Our last truly big non-conference opponent at Doak Campbell, besides Florida, is USC and Oklahoma. So I think hopefully we got Alabama in the home and home. I think we got Georgia in the home and home. So hopefully we can complete the operation after the standalone football only facility. But we had our chances, even with the turnovers, even with the penalties. Um, this game reminded me a lot of North Carolina in 1998. Florida State came in as the number 2 ranked team in the country. Um, just beat Texas A&M in the opener. I think they played that in East Rutherford, played it in New York or New Jersey. I think they played at Giant Stadium. I'm not sure, but they came in against Wake Forest. Winky hits Warwick, long touchdown run, and then the offense just sputtered. Torrey Holt had a monster game. The defense held up as long as they could, but when your offense, Winky, I think, threw 6 interceptions. This game reminded me a lot of that. This was that game where they come out, they get that drive, get the touchdown, and then it's like it just got out of hand mentally and physically. I thought Wake Forest was going to run away with it, and I was literally crying. And came out the second half. They did make adjustments. Again, I've never been sold on Fuller, but he is the defensive coordinator. I don't even know if they let Randy Shannon talk no more. He was talking as an analyst, and now he's moved into the role of co-defensive coordinator. And at some point, this is the telling year for Fuller. Like, can we adjust? Can we get better? Can we recruit better defensive players? Because if not, then you don't want to be the guy holding the team back. But other than that, second half we look good. I don't know what to say. When you get the good punt return, you get the field position, you can pretty much seize the momentum. After a touchdown, you got this drive, and then you just go backwards. I'm not mad at the kicker. I know a lot of people are, but it's like a parent sending a kid into the world not prepared, not teaching them anything, not having them prepared, and then you want to get mad at the kid. You can't. The coach put the kicker out there, so if he knew he was not good enough, and you couldn't go to junior college, you couldn't go to high school, you couldn't go to the portal and get somebody to push him, challenge him, or a viable secondary option, then you cannot blame him. You have to blame coaching. So that definitely to me is on coaching. But like I say, man, I'm just more disappointed. I'm more disappointed because I think we're a much better program. Even at this point now, we're a much better program than Wake Forest will ever be. Wake Forest has a good coach. They have great players that fit what they want to do. A lot of these guys, like I read an article about them, a lot of these guys do have chips on their shoulder. They feel like they're overlooked. But again, I stress this. There are more kids than scholarships. Think about it. There are more kids than scholarships. And I hate when somebody says, well, they got a bunch of players from Florida on the roster. You only have 85 total scholarships, and then you, 110, 120 players overall, counting the walk-ons, counting everybody. So you got over 100 players on the roster. You're not going to get every player. A coach has to recruit the players he feels going to help him keep his job and help him win games and help make the program better. If a coach does not recruit you, it doesn't mean you're not a good player. Either you didn't show enough interest, either you didn't do something, you may not have qualified with grades, or they felt like they couldn't develop you, or you were just too much of a raw project. So I stressed it. And it always helps the smaller school because when they get the guys with a chip on their shoulder, they're more motivated to prove that they should have went somewhere else. And I think that's evident in the transfer portal. The transfer portal is essentially, I couldn't go here, but I'm good enough, and now I'm going somewhere else. Just my opinion. Even in this NIL and transfer portal world, Wake Forest is showing they can do it with far less. Wake Forest operates almost at the bottom of the ACC, and I think they're in the middle or a little bit under the middle in the entire grand scheme of college football how it operates. So that's amazing. But again, I take everything into consideration. That team was not 10 points better than us. We should have won. And I know people will say, well, they had the hurricane. Wake Forest had to deal with that too. A lot of teams didn't know if they were playing. Matter of fact, Florida's playing now. They moved their game to Sunday. I think South Florida moved their game I mean, so it is what it is. So I don't. You can't make excuses. This is Florida State. We don't have no excuses to make. The days of excuses are over. Because if we're going to make excuses, then you might as well kept Willie Taggart. At least you would have had a built-in excuse. So this coach is better. I will say that. But ultimately, Florida State is judged off several things, and we're not checking those boxes right now. Really, that offense is so gimmicky. Like, please, God, I don't see how it's successful. Just sit there and hold the ball and move, and then you touch it. That's such a joke. Like, football really is a joke now. I mean, teams are so afraid to get underneath the center and on the goal line, and we're all in the gun, and we're in this pistol. We don't do no I formation, hardly no single back. There's a few teams that do it, but really, I don't see how players can't see this. I mean, I watched a game last night, USC and Arizona State. USC must have threw the wide receiver screen or the little flare quick route to the wide receiver at least 8-9 times. Like, at some points, like, I know this. This is what everybody do. Most teams 1-2 tight, and you're in the shotgun all the time. Like, it's very easy. They're gonna run out of it, but I mean, come on. It's a lot different than when you had a fullback or you had a single back. I don't even know, do linemen get in 3-point stands anymore? Do offensive linemen get in 3-point stands? Like, God, it's crazy. Like, what are we doing? But anyway, man, just my opinion about the game. I thought we were better. I'm disappointed we lost, and I know we're going to get all this. Well, it's just one loss, and we're climbing. But this is Florida State. Point blank, I don't care what we did last year, what we did for last. The expectations at Florida State are the expectations. The season is the season, and the standard is the standard. Mike Norvell right now is not a $4 million, he's not a $5 million coach, but he's paid $4 million. He's not paid $4 million to climb. He's not paid $4 million to lose to Wake Forest. He's paid $4 million to win way more than he loses, and that is 9-3, 8-4. This year is okay, but after this year, 8-4, you're doing something wrong. 9-3 is the bare minimum, but we're a 10-2, 11-1, and 12-0 program. It's just what it is. Take it how you want to take it, but that's the expectations, and that's the standard, and we're going to get back to it. So I'm just more disappointed. One thing I will say, Ron Dugans, a lot of people wanted him gone. He's turning out to be a tremendous asset. He can recruit, and obviously he can develop the wide receivers, and that obviously took time. One thing to note is that your offensive line has a lot to do with it. Offensive line has been, to this year, offensive line has been terrible. So when the offensive line improved, now receivers are catching the ball. Now your quarterback can get the ball in their hands where they can run after the catch, where they can do those things. And he is really showing that he is a coach that's worth his weight. He can hit the trail. He can develop. We got a big-time player committed. He had Warwick and Menace there, and I hope this guy's everything that he gets everything he wants. I don't really get into it right now. I'll wait till early signing period and National Signing Day, but if this guy can come in, we got Lamont Green's son coming in. We got a lot. I hate we didn't get Marvin Jones Jr., but again, he chose to go to Georgia. Georgia's coming off a national championship. I can't get mad at him. Right now, the strength and conditioning, the program, the expectations, they're meeting it. They're an elite program, and they deserve players like that. And we got to start getting back to where players just, I can't pass up that opportunity to go to Florida State. And that just comes with winning and getting better. NC State is the season to me. We know Clemson is a so-called elite team. We know they have talent, and I always find it funny that Dabo is quick. And even when I read this article about Wake Forest coach and what he's doing, he said, when is the last time we've been able to get a player from Florida State or Clemson? Like, he knows that. He knows he's not going to out-recruit those guys. So what does he do? He just gets guys he can develop. He gets guys with more upside. Like whoever is directing his recruiting, not just the recruiting coordinator, but whoever's the recruiting director, director of player personnel, whoever is the person that's responsible for getting these guys to the next level, they do a tremendous job. They can identify traits or identify players that fit what they want, and they qualify and get them in, so I will say that. But what I mean, we expect Clemson lately because they won 2 national championships. They lost to LSU, they lost to Alabama in the national championship game. So we expect them to be there because of what they've done. You know, we used to have that. Like, we used to get that benefit of the doubt. Now we don't. So we expect that to be a tough game. Last year we should have won. So that's why I say we should have won, definitely beat Florida and beat Clemson. Last year we should have been 8-4, period, at worst. But to me, NC State is the season. NC State is a huge game. This really is a do-or-die game, must-win game. If you're talking about trying to win the ACC. Right now, I'm not concerned with the college football playoff because Wake Forest, we know they're not a team that people naturally assume to be a college football playoff team. Clemson is. North Carolina's trying to get there. But this is the game because we have a loss. If we lose this, you're talking about 6-2, 5-3 in conference. You know, it is what it is. So this is a must-win to try to keep that second spot in the Atlantic. Wake Forest has a loss. They do have a tiebreaker against us, but we can still fight for the second spot. So this is a must-win. Obviously, Carter Finley Stadium, 1998. 2012, I can think of off my hand. A couple other years, it's been a nightmare for us, but we got to overcome it. This is what you go to Florida State for. This is a big moment. This right now is about as big as LSU or maybe bigger. This is how do you respond? Because everything you want is still on the table. The expectation, the goals, the standard is still there. You're in control of your destiny. You don't have to depend on nobody. You don't need no help. You don't need no luck. You don't need the ball to bounce a certain way. You have to take care of business Saturday to put yourself in position against Clemson to try to compete and contend for the ACC. So everything is still here. I hate we lost. I really hate we lost to Wake Forest because I don't like Wake Forest. And it's no disrespect to them, but you're just not a team or a school that even should be allowed to be on the field with Florida State. Let me just say that. But I can't do nothing about that. But this is a must-win. This is a do-or-die. And we'll see. We'll see how they respond, how they have a practice week. We'll see the game plan, what the coaches do. I'm going to say this. If it comes down to a field goal, the field goal kicker will make it. Got to believe him. Because obviously they didn't get another kicker. So we got to believe in him. He is what it is. Hopefully he can get his mind right, have a great week of practice, and just go out there and get it done because we need him. Obviously with Florida State, we know wide right 1, wide right 2, wide left, and wide right 3. We know it. We've been there. We've been there. 2000, the greatest game in Florida State Miami history. The biggest stage of them all at the Orange Bowl. Almost 100-degree weather. We came back deep. One of the better defenses Mickey had gave up the touchdown. Winky gets us in field goal position at offense, and you know you're thinking here we were going to win it, and we missed it. So we've been there. We know that. So I just want to stress again that we need him, and hopefully he has a great week of practice. I hope the whole team does this. Everything you guys want is here. You're not a team that's trying. We're a team of doers, and it's time to do. This is the season to me. North Carolina State, Carter Finley Stadium on Saturday night. Both teams trying to establish themselves. Everybody trying to get that position. Just as important as winning the ACC is trying to be the second best team because in the future you're talking about a 12-team playoff. So this is a must win. So you guys have a great rest of y'all week, man. Go Knowles. Let's have everybody have. If you own a business, I hope y'all make a lot of money this week. If you're at work, I hope you are very productive and put yourself in position for a promotion, for a raise. Kids, y'all have a great week of school. Soak up good knowledge, not bad knowledge. Soak up good knowledge and continue to learn and continue to grow. And I hope to see y'all next week. God bless. Go Knowles. Let's be safe. Stop the violence. Think before you shoot. Bullets do not have a name on them. They just travel till they stop. So let's be safe. I'll see y'all later.